Good afternoon, everybody. A very warm welcome to round 6 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. My name is Paul Jeffrey. I am delighted to welcome you along, and I'm even more delighted again to welcome along my colleague Alex Legui. Down there on pit road, there's lots of drama on the grid. Alex is hiding behind all of the warm temperatures, and it's going to heat up even more again in a few moments' time when we go racing. As you can see, there's plenty of exciting happenings down on the grid, so bear with us. In a few moments' time, we'll head down to Miss Alex Legui and find out exactly what's happening ahead of the final race of the day. So let's go down to the grid and speak with Alex and our drivers.
Hola a todos. Hello everybody. A very, very warm welcome to you all. We're here in race 3 in Valencia for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. What a weekend this has turned out to be. So let me remind you that race 3 is the cumulative points from qualifying, race 1 and race 2. Therefore, Jan Erlache is your poleman, and right beside him, it's like a little repeat of race 1, just switch the other way, is Santi Urrutia. So I'll be very interested to see what these boys are going to get up to into that first corner. Let's go and have a chat to Jan and find out from his perspective how he thinks race 1's good. This is a bit of a repeat from race 1, just switched around the other way, but what's going to be the result of this one?
Oh, actually, it's a bit the same thing as the race 1, to be honest. It's doing a good start. Then we have the run to T1 that is quite long, and then it will be about tire management. But if your question is a bit more about what is going to happen between us teammates, to be honest, I don't know. We will see. I mean, we're going to race each other like we do since the beginning of the season, and it has worked out quite well. It's been kind of smooth since the beginning, so we will keep doing this, and I think it's much better for the show as well.
Oh, I absolutely agree. This could be your opportunity to claw back some championship points and get back onto the top of those standings, or onto for 2025, couldn't it?
To be honest, I don't even know where I'm standing at the moment and which points I have or whatever. It's a bit early. I'm focusing on race by race. Right now, I'm focusing on doing the best job I can now to scoring a maximum of points for this race, and then we will count a bit later. It's round 2 out of 8, so we have a bit of time.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Jan, best of luck into that first corner. I can't wait, and he's right. They are providing a little bit of a show for us, these boys in blue. Yeah, elbows wide, you two. Right, Bebu, Nestor Girolami. Let's have a quick word with him because he did the drive of his life. This was a master car in touring car driving in the last race, and we had a very emotional conversation afterwards. Are you ready to repeat it? And how tricky is it going to be with these boys in blue in front of you?
For sure, it looks much more difficult now. Temperature is higher. I mean, everything can happen. It's about have a good lunch and then trying to see where we are. But at the moment, the main goal is to collect maximum points and try to see how we are in terms of pace.
Great, thank you very much. Just out of interest, do you know what the temperature is inside your car right now?
I don't know. I guess it's over 55, 60 because track temperature is 49 at the moment.
Oh, it's a little bit toasty, isn't it? They just need some ice baths to be passed down. Right, Ruben Volt, he's one of our wild cards. This boy, my word, his drive, he's been on the podium. His drive earlier on was absolutely outstanding. Talk about a way to make yourself known on a global platform.
Just send it.
Just send it, yes. Are you ready to send it again? You're P4, this is fine. Just send it around those boys.
Same place as early afternoon, so yeah, I'm gonna do my best.
How tricky is this circuit, particularly now that it has definitely got a lot hotter than earlier?
Yeah, now it's more important to get as far up as possible because now it's even harder to overtake than in the morning.
Good job. Will we see you on the podium?
Hopefully.
Doing it for the Estonians. First Estonian driver to compete in TCR global level, and he's absolutely nailing it. Now, somebody who just quietly stealths his way through and supports the other drivers is Ma Qinghua. So keep an eye on him, because I expect him to cause some problems. He'll be there as a little bit of a support and to keep these two off. So you've got Norby Michelitz, who's having quite a tricky weekend, and behind you is the previous championship points leader, Esteban Guerrieri, who will be desperately in need of just maximising points during this race. Don't know where he is. Everyone's hiding because it's far too hot. And another one to keep your eye on is Ted Bjork, who, again, he's very consistent. He plays a really long game. He's very patient, and he will also be supporting his teammates. But at this stage, of course, there are no team orders. Gianfilippi had a brilliant drive earlier. He couldn't manage to maintain his pole position in race 2, but he drove superbly. Nacho Montenegro, let's have a quick word with... Oh, no, let's go to Mikel. Can we get Mikel? Where is he? Our home hero. Yes, we can. Finally, we get to... Oh, Mikel, this has turned into such a difficult weekend for you. This is not the easiest of places to be starting race 3 either. What can you do?
Yeah, to be honest, was not the result that we were expecting before the race weekend. In the home race, after a very good Q1 lap, was the fastest lap time of the weekend, and then Q2 started the problems. Yesterday on the first race, also broken intercooler. Now I am recovering. That was a very good race this morning, overtaking 10th position, and now we are starting in position 11, so we still have one race to fight, and we're going to finish the weekend in our best.
Vamos. Right, before we finish, I want to just make a point of letting you know, I'm going to turn you around, cameraman. I'm going to run around. You follow. Turn around. Stop. You stop. I turn. Because behind me are the Charanga Boronauts. These are a fabulous local band, and thanks to Palm Tree Events, who have been providing us with this brilliant stage. We've had live music. We've had these guys who are... I mean, look at them, they're fabulous. They're really enhancing our Valencian experience here. They're doing an amazing job. Now, I can't hear my producer either, so I've got no idea how much time we've got left. We'll move out of that way. It's a really hot race. This is a really tricky, challenging circuit. It's going to be a brilliant one. And remember, these boys, there's like 3 or 4 in contention. It's changed already the hands of the championship twice this weekend. It might change again within the next half an hour. I'm Alex. Paul Jeffries is up in commentary. Paul, over to you.
Fabulous stuff from Alex Le Gui down there on the grid in, mark my words, folks at home, absolutely scorching temperature conditions here in Valencia. Not the easiest thing in the whole wide world to be able to work in these conditions. Just imagine driving a TCR touring car. Not going to be easy for our Kumho FIA TCR World Tour field. 18 drivers take to the grid. Air temperature is 31. Track is 48 degrees. Humidity now just 43%. Haha, just. Very warm conditions then for everybody to try and overcome the next 30 minutes plus 1 lap of motor racing action. Also delighted to say, I believe Eric Genet is back on the grid for this race. So if you tuned in to race number 2 a little earlier today, you'd have noticed that the Monlau Motorsport Cupra driver was missing. They found damage on the front of the car somewhere around the steering area from undetected from race 1 contact. Couldn't make it out in race number 2, but that car is back looking resplendent and ready to go racing again. Although for Eric, started in 17th position. It's going to be a very difficult day in the sweltering sunshine, it has to be said. Jan Elishay is the man that's going to be leading us away from the field in pole position, courtesy of the points accrued over the course of qualifying race 1 and race number 2. Elishay, the biggest scorer thus far, and starts from the very best position on the grid. It's going to be a very big ask for the chasing pack to try and do anything about the French driver. Mikel Afkona, as Alex Le Gui already mentioned down there on the grid, he's not had the best of weekends, it has to be said. He was very strong in race number 2, passing multiple cars on his way through the order. But Strathcona, it's going to be a big ask to repeat that 7th position. He starts this race. Where does Mikel start? Let's have a quick look. He starts this race. You know, we're trying to find a piece of paper really quickly. There we go, 11th position. So a lot of work to do for Mikel Azcona. A lot of work to do for Santiago Urrutia. Cast your minds back to yesterday morning, race number 1. And Santi was a little bit spicy, not gonna lie. I expect, maybe, just maybe, there could be some repeat of that one. This time, though, it's Jan Elishay leading point. So Urrutia is going to have to turn the dial of aggression up even further if he wants to beat his teammate down through T1 into lap number 1. And then, of course, all the way through to the checkered flag. We can hear the wonderful band in the background, still performing for our drivers and various people on the grid. It's been a great atmosphere here in Spain. A big thank you to all the organisers at Valencia. Obviously, we joined in TCR Spain this weekend as well. It's been great to see some of our colleagues from TCR Spain. It's been a wonderful, wonderful warm welcome to the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour field, of which we give our thanks to each and every one of them. One of the wonderful things about the World Tour is we travel the world and we join up with local organisations. So rather than being a standalone championship that traipses around the main deal, we join in with local events and organisers and all the infrastructure that comes with it. And one of the greatest pleasures is meeting new people, making new friends, forming stronger, lasting working relationships across the board, not just in commentary, but all the way through the organisation. So a big, big thank you to everybody here in Valencia, including the sun gods, that have most definitely brought us some wonderful summertime. Marching Hua is a man with a lot of hair. He'll not be enjoying the warmth, I'm sure. Starting from 5th position as the Chinese driver. Ma is going to be... Alex alluded to this one on the grid, but I'm going to expand it a little bit further. Ma is always there or thereabouts, but often defaults into a supportive role for some of his teammates. Now the question is, if you're starting 5th on the grid, your nearest teammates are 1st and 2nd, Ma has an opportunity to try and gap himself in 10th York, see what he can rustle up in terms of results in this 3rd and final race. I expect that car to be very interesting indeed. Norbert Michaelis, he's a driver. Got a little bit earlier on today. It all looked so good, didn't it? And then it all looked so different indeed. Contact for Norby sent him off on a wild ride across the infield grass. He managed to get the car back on the racetrack, thankfully for him. But instead of it being a healthy haul of points, he was just good enough for 11th position. There's a big opportunity for Norby to close down the gap at the front of the pack. And Esteban Gurrieri, there's a big opportunity for the Argentinian GOAT racing driver to get another hearty handful of points and see if he can stave off the ever-increasing threat of the Lincoln Co. Cyan racing team behind. Jan Elishay very much the point man now for that squad. And Ted Bjork still recovering from a difficult qualification. Failed to make it through to Q2. Not very often you say that one of Ted Bjork. Well, he's the 8th highest scorer thus far in the championship of this round. As such, starting in 8th position. I think been the highest that we've seen Ted start a race so far this weekend. He could very well be a contender to sign his way through the pack as the racing folds. Credit needs to be given to John Filippi as well, it has to be said. The race earlier on today started from a reverse grid pole position. Pace just hasn't been there for John in 2025, but the defensive strategy that he deployed was very potent indeed. Filippi having a really good race to try and hold off the chasing pack behind. He did a good job, did John, to finish in 4th position. And the checkered flag will start this one in 9th. It's not going to be quite so straightforward. It's going to be all about going forwards rather than defending. Right then, let's take a lock at our provisional starting grid. Jan Elishay from Santiago Urrutia on the front row. Bebu, Girolami and Ruben Volt, 3rd and 4th. 5th place goes the way of Marching Hua. He's got Norbert Michaelis for company, with Esteban Gurrieri and Ted Bjork, 7th and 8th. Very keen to work their way through the order. John Filippi starts in 9th, alongside Ignacio Montenegro. Mikel Azcona is 11th. Felipe Fernandez makes it an all-Spanish row of the grid. 13th place goes the way of Victor Anderson, with Rafael Fournier in 14th. Marco Butti is 15th. Julian Brichet will start this one in 16th position for JSB competition. Eric Genet does make it to the grid in 17th position. It'll be an old Cupra final row as Aurelian Comte joins him on the back row of the grid in what should be a very frantic round number 6 of TCR. you're watching this on the TCR TV YouTube channel, congratulations! You found a very entertaining channel. Feel free to give us a subscribe. Plenty of racing action, plenty of drama and content uploaded on a regular basis, not least of which is the race that you're watching now. There we go again, in just a week's time. One of the fastest racetracks in Europe. Of course, where else could it be? The Temple of Speed that is Monza. A very different proposition indeed to Valencia. And sure to be an equally tough test of what our Kumho FIA TCR World Tour drivers are capable of in the heat of battle. So don't miss that one, but more importantly, don't miss this one. The here and now on a wonderful Sunday afternoon, wherever you are watching this from around the world. A big warm hello and welcome to you all. I hope you're comfortable, I hope you've got snacks and drinks, and I hope you don't need the bathroom for the next 30 minutes or so, because you ain't going to want to miss a single second of this motor race that's to come. Touring cars are, in my humble opinion, by far and away the best form of motor racing ever invented by man. The Kumho FIA TCR World Tour is the absolute top of the tree of that category. This one's going to be intense, it's going to be hard, it's going to be hot, it's going to be feisty, I'm absolutely certain. But one thing it will be, it's very entertaining indeed. This is a camera car of John Felipe that we're going to be looking out for quite a bit more, I think, in race number 3. No longer will John be using the rear view mirrors, he's going to have to use the windshield ahead and charge through the pack, given the opportunity. Does he have the pace in the 127? Let's have a look at the driver's points while we're working this one out. It is 3 points advantage to Esteban Gurrieri over Jan Aleshe. Santi Urruti a further point back in third, and then Ted Bjork makes it 3 Lincoln goes in the top 4. Make that 4 in the top 5. Marching off 5th in the current standings. A few drivers' names that you'll not recognise there, previous wild cards. Michel Jordan Jr. being the chief of those in 12th position. He raced with us as part of TCR Mexico in the Mexico City round that opened up our season a few short weeks ago. Well, we're back in Europe. It's just as hot as Mexico. Track action is going to be just as frantic as ever. Jan Aleshe then dictating the pace. One final opportunity to warm up those Kumho slick tyres. One final opportunity to warm up those brakes as we go barrelling down into turn 1 here at Valencia. It's a short braking event into T1, but it is one that is absolutely and categorically covered in potential for calamity. Let's hope that the 2 Lincoln codes at the head of the pack don't find each other on the run down at T1. You never know in motor racing, even with teammates, things can go wrong. Final cars then coming to the grid. Rowley and Comte and Eric Genet will line up in their second to last and final spots respectively. And when all 18 cars are in position, we'll go motor racing. Here we are then, folks. Do not go anywhere. We are about to go motor racing here in Valencia for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Round number 6. The lights are off and we are racing in Spain, and it is a wonderful launch at the start of the field. But look at that in third position, Bebo Girolami. Fantastic stuff. A little bit of a round 2 replay contact with the side of the Lincoln coach. Girolami, though, to the outside line, tries to make it back into the inside. Can't find enough racing room as the entirety of the pack squabble behind. A little bit of secondary contact. Esteban Gurrieri and Ruben Vol coming together. Gurrieri has the outside line. Does he have the high ground, though, on Bebo Girolami? I think not on this occasion. Girolami just about finds an Elantra-sized gap in which to insert himself. Esteban Gurrieri will need to think harder and will need to work harder to find a way past his fellow Argentinian driver as Ruben Volt a little bit further back gets involved in the chaos as well. Side by side for Volt. He's still got the wing mirrors on, so he's not racing that hard, but Norbert Mikulis will be well aware of the threat from the Estonian driver behind as Esteban Gurrieri just about has a bit of breathing space to the inside. Goes the 105 of Norbert Mikulis. A little bit further back. That's a battle pack led by Mikel Azcona. Azcona very much on the defensive as everybody, it seems, tries to climb over the back of the Italian squad. Victor Anderson being one of those, just missing out as he runs a little bit wide. Slight contact with the MXGP Lincoln code. The older generation Lincoln code, the first generation car run by Matthias Anderson Grand Prix for his son Victor, and they're doing a good job in the battle pack. As we look again at the front of the field, it is still Aleshe Cromaritia Bebu Girolami now losing a few car lengths. The two Lincoln Co cars fight amongst each other. And Esteban Gurrieri, that's a great start for Esteban Gurrieri, up there in 4th place. But he has the attentions of Norbert Miklis for company. That's not going to be an easy one to defend from the reigning champion. As at the front of the field, Santi Urrutia signals his intents nice and early to Jan Elyshay, but Elyshay gets the car stopped on time, keeps the race in line. Santiago needs to have another little think how he's going to attack his teammate, how he's going to attack one of the drivers fighting for the championship. That's how you do it, down the inside, last of the late breakers for Santiago, uses all of the racetrack and a little bit more, and Jan Elyshay will be somewhat disappointed, methinks, about that one. Fantastic pass then for Santiago Urrutia, maximum commitment, no team orders on play here of the Cyan Racing Lincoln Co squad. Urrutia now is your new race leader because of that one. Jan Elyshay falls under a little pressure from Girolami. Norbert Miklis has a look to the inside of Gurrieri. Nothing doing on this occasion for Norbe. He'll have another look, maybe a bit of teamwork between the two BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa cars. Back of your shot, Julian Brichet in strife. The front of your shot, Ruben Volt in the inside panel of Norbert Miklis. Both drivers, though, just about manage to survive that one. Ruben Volt is absolutely no respecter of reputations or previous successes. He just wants that position. He doesn't see a reigning champion. He sees an obstacle to his ultimate goal of the podium. And Ruben Volt will definitely not be shy in putting his car in places that Norbert Miklis will not enjoy in the early stages of this motor race. The back of the field, Eric Genet's moved up one position into 17th place. Rafael Fournier dropping down to the back of the pack. 18 cars in the running so far. Everybody's made it through these opening few laps, which is good to note. A few big drivers and their progress updates. Aurelien Comte up to 14th place. Marco Butti in 13th position. This is a little squabble between Esteban Gurrieri, Norbert Miklis and Ruben Volt. Ruben running out of space on this occasion, trying desperately to find a way past. He'll be emboldened by the pace of race 2 earlier on today, will Ruben Volt. And I'm sure he has designs on a potential podium charge if he can just find a way past that pesky number 105. Outside line on that occasion. Not proven to be useful for Ruben Volt. But while they squabble, that gives Esteban Gurrieri the opportunity to get the pedal to the metal and start building a bit of a gap, a bit of a comfort blanket. So Gurrieri, for his own right, can have a little bite with Bebu Girolami ahead. Look at the damage on the back of Norbert Miklis' car. That's from the intentions of those behind, perhaps. A little bit of rubbing. No harm, no foul on this occasion, but it will be something that team and driver will want to keep an eye on. You don't want to get too many war wounds, otherwise that meatball flag will be waved and you'll have to come and say hello to pit lane. So far, though, all is okay for our reigning champion. Miklis will be absolutely desperate to not repeat the dramas of race 2. Similar kind of position on track. Didn't end very well at all for Norbe. So it's going to be a big points haul. That's the only play at this moment in time for Norbert Miklis. Score those big points. And the head of the pack, by the way, Jan Elyshay, Santiago Urrutia have swapped positions once again. Not quite sure if that's formation flying or aggressive overtaking. We'll keep our eyes on that one, but one thing for sure is Santiago is very keen to tell the watching world, and more realistically, the strategists within the team, hey, I'm just as quick as Jan. I need the opportunity to lead this motor race, says Santiago Urrutia. But Jan Elyshay, thinking big picture perhaps, thinking championship, he will absolutely want to be the one that scores the maximum point haul of 30 points on this third race. Not an easy task. Sounds easy on paper, doesn't it? Just lead from the front with your teammate behind. Ha! Nothing's ever that straightforward in touring car racing, and Santiago Urrutia is most certainly making Jan Elyshay work very hard indeed at the head of the pack. While they're squabbling, though, Bebu Girolami, Nestor Girolami, winner of race number 2, is still very firmly in that conversation in third position. He's pulling along Esteban Gurrieri with him. And between the two of them, they're starting to gap ever so slightly. We're only talking tenths of a second, if not thousandths of a second. But they are starting to gap Norbert Miklis behind. And Ruben Volt, the initial charge from the Estonian driver, is fading somewhat. And I think Ruben Volt now may need to start affecting a defensive posture. Because marching well. Remember I said Mar on the grid when he came out for him? Well, now it's time to shine, sunshine. Now is the time to get those elbows out and see what he can do. His teammates in the Lincoln Co Cyan Racing squad ahead. Halfway round then, lap number 3. About to commence 4 laps in the books. 23 minutes, 25 seconds plus 1 lap still on the timing screen, so plenty of racing action still to go. Just the back of his shot with caught Eric Jeunet there, still in 17th, so the pace of that Monlau Cupra, perhaps not as quick as they were hoping following the running repairs. Preceding the start of this race, Jeunet still working his way through the field. Fellow TCR Europe driver Ruben Volt, no such problems whatsoever, thank you very much. Ruben engages overtaking mode. Does he have the GGs in a straight line? Not quite on this occasion, no, but Miklis has that one covered. But Ruben Volt is definitely giving off the body language of a driver that does not want to cede any opportunity to the cars around. As very briefly on screen, we saw a 5-second penalty for a jump start for car number 11, and that would be Marco Butti down there in 12th position. It hasn't been the weekend that Marco Butti would have enjoyed, it has to be said. And unfortunately, those 5 seconds added to race time are going to make for a hard time for the Italian driver. Right then, let's take a replay of the race start. Jan Aleshe at the front of the field. The initial launch was good. The second phase, not quite so strong. Goes defensive to Santiago Arrutia. That allows Bebu Girolami to very much buy into the fight. And that was great. That was the news that Girolami needed. The more squabbling that the Lincoln Co. Cyan racing cars can do, the more opportunity will present itself to the Argentinian driver. Although he almost got ricocheted straight off of the racetrack, does well to avoid too big of a problem. This is a little bit further down the running order. That's one of the GOAT Racing Hondas. That must be Nacho Montenegro, I think. Yes, it is indeed. This is the Argentinian driver's view from the middle of the pack. A little bit quite clear, actually, surprisingly so, for a TCR touring car start for Montenegro. And then we're right on board with Aleshe. That's the defensive Schumacher-esque chop on teammate Santiago Arrutia. Just look how hard Aleshe has to work. Just being aware where everybody is on the racetrack, not least of whom, on that occasion, is Bebu Girolami. Then Mikel Azcona, a lot further down the running order than he would like. This is going to be a lively run down into T1 for Mikel. Hopefully for him, a little bit less lively than he's experienced over the course of this weekend so far. And as you can see, all's fair in love and war. John Filippi got a lightning start in race 1. Not too bad either in race number 3, it doesn't seem. That was a good launch off the line to challenge Ted Bjork. For Filippi, though, still 11th position, so it didn't come to much in the opening 10 minutes of this race. And the opening 10 minutes of this race has worked out rather well for Jan Aleshe and Santiago Arrutia. 1 second now is the gap to themselves, and their next best car in this field, Nestor Girolami. So it's looking good for the Cyan machines at the front of the field. Girolami has got a lot of work to do over the next 20 minutes in scorchio weather conditions to try and hold off Esteban Gurrieri, Norbert Michelis, and that man Ruben Volt, all in a very tight battle pack. It might feel relatively straightforward as Ted Bjork goes for a longer route around the outside of Nacho Montenegro. He continues side by side. It's advantage Bjork at this moment in time. But I do think Montenegro, there you go, the bottom of your screen, does find a way to slip on by the Swedish driver. Ruben Volt, car number 27 that we see on screen. Doesn't look like he's quite got the pace. He's not quite the urgency, is there, in the body language of that Honda FL5 TCR. Quite the urgent body language that we saw at the start of the race for Ruben Volt. So now maybe we've come into the tyre-saving phase. Mikel Azcona proving the liar almost immediately by going almost full lock stops to keep the car on the track. Thank you, Mikel. But now it's a little bit of a tyre-saving phase of this race. Temperatures are, I know I keep saying it, but they really is worth reiterating. Temperatures are sky high here in Valencia. You're going to have to manage the rubber, otherwise you're going to run out of grip very quickly towards the end of this race. And that will lead to a few drivers being moderately tentative, shall we say. As again, Norbert Michelis on this occasion proves me immediately wrong by locking up in a T1 and doing a great Tokyo Drift impression. Holds on to the 105, but that has made Norby somewhat vulnerable to Ruben Volt behind. Overtaking is incredibly hard here in Valencia. Ruben himself said to Alex Legui on the grid, it's very difficult to pass, but full send. That's the only way that that young man knows how to go motor racing. I am absolutely sure. And I dare say, if you're Norbert Michelis, you need full attention on the car behind. Even if we are in a bit of a tyre-saving phase, Ruben Volt often favours going quickly over anything else. This could be a great opportunity for the Estonian, great opportunity for Mikel Azcona as well. It's been another solid start for Mikel. He's up there in 8th position now, so that's a decent start. But more importantly for the Spanish driver, it's not the position they're in, It's the part of the real estate of the racetrack that you are currently on. And Azcona is very, very much in contention with those cars in front. Just ahead of Mikel is Kumho. Just ahead of him is Ruben Volt, Norbert Miklas, Esteban Gurrieri and teammate Bebu Girolami. Plenty to play for just yet for Mikel. But, as we always say, putting yourself in a position to overtake is one skill set. Executing said overtake is a different one indeed. So for Azcona, he knows he's got the pace. Big question is, does he have the opportunity? Kumho is not an easy man to pass, but there may be opportunity knocking in the non-too-distant future for Nacho Montenegro. Look at the slipstream of the GOAT Racing Honda at the back of your shot. Looks nice and early to the inside. Telegraphs that one to Mikel Azcona. And Azcona, with absolutely no right of reply whatsoever, has to let it go. Tries to find the counter-attack down into turn number 2. There'll be no opportunity on this occasion, though, for the Spaniard. He follows Montenegro through. Now the big opportunity for Mikel is, does Nacho Montenegro have the pace to get onto the back of Kumho? And if so, he could, in effect, be a bit of a snowplow for Mikel Azcona, and maybe, just maybe, clear the way for the Spanish driver to take up the opportunity. That all sounds very fanciful. It all sounds very much like an ideal scenario. We all know ideal scenarios do not exist in real life. So Mikel Azcona, in reality, they just got another car now to try and find a way past as Ruben Volt again looks to the inside of Norbert Miklas. But again, it's more an exercise in filling the mirrors of your rival rather than a genuine attempt to make the overtake. Ruben just doing as much as he can to try and put Norby off, make him concentrate on the car behind. Sometimes I think Ruben may forget that's a double champion that you've got in front of you. Our only driver to be crowned the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour Drivers' Champion. He knows a thing or two about soaking up pressure, does Norbert Miklas. You have to get up very early in the morning to put one past the Hungarian driver. This will be a true test of the talent and pace and career development of Ruben Volt. If he can pass Norbert Miklas, trust me, he can pass anyone. There is Nacho Montenegro, who's pretty much passed everyone so far, it seems, in this race. It's been a busy start to the race for the Argentinian driver. And Montenegro, as we ride on board, perfectly on cue for the rundown. Hopefully with seat through into turn number 1. You can see just how much commitment's needed. Now, curb on the inside. Watch out for that tyre stack. And unfortunately for Julien Brichet, he's a man who's experienced pit lane a little bit more than everybody else, it seems, this weekend. That is another DNF. Did not finish for Julien Brichet and his JSB competition team. Real shame for Julien. Hopefully he'll pick himself up, dust himself off and be back at it again in the very near future. A lot better driver than his results have allowed him to show this weekend. 43-year-old Frenchman. Very much a star in touring car racing. It's just not quite gone his way so far this weekend. 15 minutes then, 13 seconds plus 1 lap. As near as makes no difference, the half-distance mark here in the final race of the weekend. Round number 6 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour at Valencia. It's still Jan Elishay by 0.8 of a second from Santiago Urruti at the head of the pack. Nestor Girolami holding on to the bottom step of the podium. That would go well, wouldn't it? That would match very nicely with his race 2 victory for Bebu Girolami. Esteban Gurrieri in 4th from Norbert Miklas, and then a big old battle pack further on down. And who is that one? Coming through as Victor Anderson, getting very interested into the rear of the now 5 seconds applied to your race time penalised Marco Butti. Butti still in 12th position. He's going to fall very quickly down the running order as and when the checkered flag falls in around 16 minutes from now. Kumho, he was a driver I thought would be on the tippy toes a little bit more at this stage in the motor race. Well, Mar doesn't quite seem to have the pace, or more importantly, the appetite at this moment in time to get involved with Ruben Volt ahead. Maybe again, we're still in the phase of saving tyres and bringing the car in for the second part of the race. And Mar, a wise head on youngish shoulders. He definitely knows which fight to pick and which one to hold back from. And maybe if you've got Ruben Volt ahead, probably best to keep a watching brief for now and just see what he can rustle up. As Nacho Montenegro, I love these camera shots. You can really see the drivers hard at work, both feet and hands. It's a real art form. To dance a TCR touring car around Valencia is an absolute art form. And Nacho Montenegro, always an entertaining driver to watch, come what may. Very lively behind the wheel. He's still in 8th position. Not quite close enough to challenge Mar. They're definitely getting to the point where 13.5 minutes on the clock. If you're going to make an attack, you probably want to think about launching said attack in the non-too-distant future. Ruben Volt was born launching attacks. He still watches the back of Norbert Nicholas's car. This has been a very strong drive from Norby. Very few mistakes. You don't really see many snatch breaks or missed apexes from our reigning champion, the 105. So Norby doing absolutely everything he possibly can to make the opportunity as minimal as possible for the cars behind. There's Eric Genet just whipping through our screen. Clearly still damage on that Monlau Motorsport Cooper. Genet stalling somewhat in his charge in 16th position, and frankly, not even close to the back of Felipe Fernandez's car. So that's a real shame. Victor Anderson in the Generation 1 Lincoln Co. Former car that the Sagan boys would have been driving at one point in the recent past. Now it's run by MAGP, and Victor having a solid run in 13th position. Stuck, like many of the drivers, really, in just unable to get the clean air they need to extract the lap time. And there's an answer to your question of why is Eric Genet running so slowly? Clearly there's a problem there on that Monlau Cooper. A beautiful looking car, lovely little livery. But Genet down pit lane, and unfortunately his competitive prospects down pit lane with him. As we ride on board with Nacho Montenegro, still frustratingly the gap between himself and mine. In fact, actually, I think we saw Nacho almost throw the car at the scenery just at the end of that last shot. So he's definitely pushing hard as the Argentinian driver, but there's just not the pace in the GOAT Racing Honda Civic at this moment in time, at the very least, to really genuinely insert himself in that fight just in front. Currently led by that man, Norbert Michaelis. That's a very sad Eric Genet. Back down pit lane. He's wearing his dad's race suit. I don't know if you noticed that one on the grid for race number 2. His dad, Jordi Genet, an absolute touring car legend. It's his first World Tour race in his dad's overalls. Like to see that one, but he's back in his normal attire now, and sadly hasn't brought in really any luck. It doesn't seem over the course of this weekend, and in particular, this race number 3 for Eric Genet. Don't worry about it though. He's a young man who will be on the world stage before too long. Probably, just like his dad, be there for a very long and successful time. Indeed, Julien Brichet that you see just pulling out of the way to the left-hand side. Good driving from the Frenchman. Doesn't want to impede any of the battle ahead. But it's good to see the JSB machines back on track at the very least. Just see if that car is in good form. Ready for the next time it does battle later in the season. With Brichet getting well and truly out of the way. That's a shame. That's a disruptor that we needed at the front of the pack. A little bit of traffic. Maybe that might bring Santiago Arrutia into contention, but not so. As things stand, that's a near 1 second gap between the Cyan Racing Lincoln Co teammates. Not the same that can be said of this one, as Ruben Volt continues to try and find a way past Norbert Nicholas. Don't know about you good people, but that looks a little bit closer on this occasion. This looks like we may be in, that maybe the string has been pulled, but not quite released. There's no catapult fired yet from Ruben Volt, but he does have a Dennis the Menace look about him, doesn't he? He does have a kind of vibe of, yep, I'm going to get ready to fire this at someone, but I don't quite know where just yet. Ruben Volt very much in an attacking posture, it seems now, in that ALM Motorsports Honda Civic. Big question is, though, it's fine having the intent, folks. It's fine having the pace. What you need is an ALM Motorsports Honda Civic size gap to become apparent, in which you can very quickly go and insert yourself. And Norbert Michaelis is not in the habit of leaving Honda Civic type gaps between himself and apexes. So Ruben may have to go a bit touring car style if he wants to make this one happen. And I dare say he very much does want to make this one happen. Ted Bjork, by the way, 10th position for the Swedish driver. So Ted's had a bit of a roadblock over the last few laps. His progress has stunted somewhat, 6/10 behind Mikel Azcona. And it does have a bit of a boiling pot feel about this one, doesn't it? Everybody's calm, everyone's collected, everybody's playing nicely. It's like a Formula race at the moment. Mind your wings, make sure your wheels are okay. Well, these are touring cars, guys. Let's get over with this stuff. Let's get the elbows out. And I reckon with 9 minutes plus 1 lap still to go, elbows are, if not being removed from sleeves, definitely being sharpened ever so slightly by a bunch of these drivers. The question is, who's going to be the one that pulls the pin? And who's going to be the big winners and losers in the final 8 minutes, 51 seconds plus 1 lap of racing action here at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Event number 2, round number 6, we're currently in. And then we'll pack it all up, head over to Italy, and start again next weekend in Monza. Because what finer way to spend a weekend than watching touring car racing, I hear you say. Aye, aye to that one, fully agreed. brilliant stuff we're seeing on track. More strategic than dramatic in this third and final race. But you can definitely cut the tension with a knife at this moment in time. Something's going to happen, folks. We just don't know where or by whom just yet. Nacho Montenegro would dearly love to be the one that kickstarts all the dramas, but he needs to find about half a second a lap if he's going to do that one to really, really insert himself on the rear tailpipe of Marcin Hua's machine ahead. And Montenegro, at this moment in time at least, doesn't look like he's got the pace. He's definitely got the body language of a man who's pushing. A flash of the lights as well, Tamar. I don't know if that's going to make any difference at all, but if it makes you feel better, go for it, Nacho. And Nacho is definitely Montenegro. He's definitely on the attack. Look at that one. Sideways for Marco Butti. Beautiful stuff almost on Gabriele Tarquini-esque 2 wheels at Knock Hill. Marco Butti, though, keeps the car all together, and he's another spectacular driver, always full of the dramas. Let's remember, though, that Marco does have that 5-second jump start infringement time penalty that will be applied to his time. So although he's up there in 12th on track, effectively he's invisible to this particular battle pack. Hopefully he stays out of trouble. That's always scary when you've got a penalised driver in the pack. Hopefully he stays out of trouble. And then we'll see where that car finishes. It will obviously promote Victor Anderson up a place. He'll be a bit frustrated. He'd like to have a bit of a nibble at the back of John Filippi's car, given the opportunity. But I don't think with 7 minutes left to go on the clock, that opportunity may well be reducing pretty much corner to corner for Victor Anderson. Of course, Aurelien Comte keeping a watching brief as well. Low-key weekend for Aurelien Comte. One of the stars, in my opinion, of Mexico City. The SP competition Cupra driver, a little bit overshadowed by the results, at least, of John Filippi this weekend. And a little bit of work to do for the French squad, methinks, to try and get a little bit more pace extracted for when we head over to Italy next week. John Filippi, though, doing a great job in 11th place. Great defensive drive so far from Marco Butti behind. And yep, pace is not quite there yet, but one thing we have rediscovered is John Filippi has lost absolutely none of his racecraft. It's only a matter of time before car and driver gel, and great things will follow. But for now, Filippi trying to stem the flow of cars making their way past and doing a stout job in 11th place, holding off Marco Butti with Victor Anderson. Oh, hello Marco. That's not the racetrack, son. That's the gravel. You don't want to be doing that one too many times. Otherwise, a bad time will ensue for all. As Victor Anderson watches on. Not quite the pace in the Lincoln Co, the Generation 1 Lincoln Co at least, at this moment in time. But Anderson trying to extract the most he possibly can. As now we have an opportunity for an overtaking manoeuvre. To the inside goes John Filippi, following Marco Butti. Covers off the line very nicely indeed. And Marco will have to have another rethink. Skirt as close as you can to the tyre barrier on the exit of turn number 1. And Butti still unable to find a way past as cloud cover begins to welcome itself over Valencia. It's got notably darker and notably more humid on track. Not helping the drivers one iota, methinks, in terms of the effort extraction in the cockpit. It does make for some pretty pictures, doesn't it? There's a sun-kissed Valencia, goes a little bit more shaded. Lights are on from the majority of the field, and that's not just to signify their aggressive posture in this race. It is very much a signal of intent. A race car with headlights comes on behind you, you know that's somebody in a bit of a shuffle. You start flashing, you know you're in their head, and that's exactly what you want to see as the defensive driver. Let the guy behind overthink things, and it makes your life a lot easier indeed. Marco Butti's overthinking nothing though. He's a man racing very much on his wits at this moment in time. Filippi locks up the inside wheel. It's a little bit tight actually into the right-hander. That may compromise him on corner exit. It does so, but doesn't do enough to allow Marco Butti to get involved in the fight. And speaking of people that would love to get in fights but aren't doing just yet, that's that man Marcin Huar. Once again, we pick up the Lincoln Co Cyan racing car, and it's pretty much as you were in that lead battle, isn't it? No one's really forging ahead or seeming to have a bit of a tyre life advantage at this moment in time. As soon as I say that one, though, Ruben Volt makes a bit of a hash in the final corner, but he has got just enough horsepower to hold off the 155 behind. Ruben Volt, though, from the attacker, now becomes the defender, it seems. So maybe the ALM Motorsport Civic pace starting to drop away a little bit in the dying embers of this third and final race. And Ruben Volt going from the man I expected to be charging forward, if anything, is now very much interested in what's happening behind him, the position of Marchinkois, and it will be defensive time now, methinks, for the Estonian driver. 6th position for now. That allows Norman Mikulis to get a bit of a breathing room, bit of a gap. And I think Ruben Volt, before too long, is going to be exploring those defensive lines in a bid to keep Marchinkois back. And we all know, as soon as you start defending, you hemorrhage time. And that's when things start to unravel very quickly indeed. Marchinkois will be delighted about that. So will that man, Nacho Montenegro. Montenegro's been keeping a frustrating waiting game, hasn't he? Always 7-8 tenths of a second in arrears, never close enough to make the move. But for Montenegro, this could be the opportunity now. Now Mar has his attention focused on Ruben Volt. Nacho Montenegro has an opportunity to try and shake the tree and see what falls loose. It's going to be a big ask for the Argentinian. But one thing we know about Montenegro is he's a man that definitely knows how to take opportunities when they're presented to him. Sometimes even when they're not. So Montenegro will be hoping that Ruben Volt continues to spiral backwards and that the ensuing fight presents itself some opportunities. We ride on board the number 23. 16 laps in the books, 2 minutes 11 seconds plus 1 still to go. So about 3 laps worth of racing action still in front of us. Nacho Montenegro, for the first time, shows a little bit of enthusiasm for having a look to the inside of Marchinkois. This might make Mar vulnerable. This could be what it's all been about, ladies and gents. Save those tyres to the very, very death of the race, and then you're in the best position to try and claw your way up as far as you can the running order. And from my limited knowledge and perspective up here in the commentary box, it does look to me like Nacho Montenegro is perhaps just a modicum more happy with the balance underneath him than those cars in front. And that, for a race car driver in the final moments of a motor race, is very good news indeed. Let's see if Nacho Montenegro can do anything about it. One thing's for sure, Mikel Azcona is dropped well and truly off the back of that fight now. Azcona in a bit of no man's land with Ted Bjork for company behind. So Mikel very much out of this fight now. 10th position, 9th position, sorry. He said if he finishes where he starts, it'll be a reasonably decent haul of points. It looks like he's absolutely buying on the money at this moment in time. As we hit the final minute of racing action, Montenegro dips a wheel onto the dirt. That's going to hold him up. It's not going to disbalance the car, but it will certainly minimise his forward progress. And with just a couple of laps left in the books, you cannot afford to give away anything if you're either Nacho Montenegro, Marchinkois or Ruben Volt in this particular battle pack. Down into the final corner. Very tricky, very evil little corner here. The last sector of Valencia, massively technical. A lot of trust and faith in the car has to be held. And one small mistake, one snatch break, one missed apex, even by just a few millimetres, can very much spell disaster. Hence the reason it's known as such a technical circuit here at the Ricardo Turbo track. It's a great touring car venue. It's a great track to drive as a driver. It's also quite the technical challenge as well. Nacho Montenegro, with 2 laps left in the books, is running out of chances as Julien Brichet just wants to come and say hello to pit lane again one more time for good measure. And we'll say goodbye to the French driver who joins Eric Genet as the only 2 retirees in this 6th round of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Penultimate lap, we are on. Jan Elishay is your race leader from Santiago Arrutia, and Bebu Girolami in 3rd position. But the real attention, actually, where do you focus the attention? Because there are several squabbles all the way down the pack. John Filippi still in that 11th position and still keeping Marco Butti at bay. Marchinkois never quite materialised the fight for Mar, did it? On the back of Ruben Volt. He's got Nacho Montenegro for company. And Jan Elishay, well, he stayed on the grid, didn't he? He was up front and honest with our Alex Legui. It's going to all be about that fight down into T1. Well, job done for Jan Elishay. He got the fight, he got the race lead. In a few minutes' time, he's going to be crowned the victor here at Valencia. His first win of the weekend, and a much-needed win it will be, I am sure. Nacho Montenegro almost gets a swapper coming into the final corner. Good bit of car control there. Trust me, heart in mouth as a driver when that happens. Very, very scary times. In fact, he's worked quite well for Nacho. He's got a reasonably good slipstream on the back of Marchinkois ahead. I think it's going to be a little bit too far back to make the move. The flash of the lights, though, just to let them know, the Chinese driver know. It's the final lap, son. I still want to find a way past Mar, though. We'll be more than aware of the threat. They'll be on the phone at Cyan Racing, saying be careful of Nacho Montenegro. Let's bring this 7th position home. No matter what happens between these two, it's been a great race for both drivers. It's been a slow burner, this 3rd and final race of the weekend. I'm sure you will agree with me, a very entertaining one. Nevertheless, if you're Jan Elyshe, the more boring these races are, the better if you take home the winner's trophy and the points that come with it at the checkered flag. And this is just what the championship points needed for Jan Elyshe. He'll be our new championship leader, I dare say, when we get to the conclusion of this race. Although that's mental maths I am definitely not going to make. But Jan Elyshe, it's been a strong Spain. Strong return to European competition for the French driver. This is the Elyshe that we know. This is the one that we've seen in TCR touring cars for so many years. Massive pace, massive commitment, and with it, I think it's fair to say, a fairly commanding victory over teammate Santiago Urrutia. Ruben Volt still not giving up the fight at the back of the pack, but I think the time, unfortunately, has run out for the Estonia. Jan Elyshe then rounds the final few moments of this final race of the day for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, round number 6 in Valencia, and it is a dominant victory for Jan Elyshe of Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing, leading home a 1-2 with teammate Urrutia behind, and Bebu Girolami rounding out your podium finishes. Good finish for Esteban Gurrieri at the checkered flag as well. 4th place for the Argentine driver, ahead of Norman Miklis. Ruben Volt continues his impressive introduction to the world stage with 6th. Marchinguar, Nacho Montenegro, Mikel Azcona and Ted Bjork round out the provisional top 10 finishers. John Filippi did hold off from Marco Butti for 11th at the flag. Victor Anderson 13th from Aurelian Comp. And then it is the rest of the field. Marco Butti, let's not forget, will have 5 seconds added to his race time at the conclusion of this one, courtesy of that jump start infringement. So Marco, in fact, already drops down the order, is classified a provisional 15th. That moves Filippi up into 11th, Anderson 12th, Aurelian Compt 13th, and then Felipe Fernandez in 14th, from Marco Butte and Raphael Fournier being the last driver that makes it over the line for another finish for the young Frenchman, which is a very good result. And this is the impact on the points then, ladies and gents. Provisional, as always. Jan Elyshe is your new Kumho FIA TCR World Tour leader. Santiago Urrutia, 6 points in arrears. Esteban Gurrieri, a further point back in 3rd. And then 33 back is Ted Bjork in 4th, just ahead of Marchinguar with a neat 100 points on the board. Wow. So, season start, you write a script. What's the script going to look like? I think we'll have multiple drivers fighting for the championship, different winners each round, and points in single figures at the top of the field. That script has been turned into a film, and the film you are watching. What a great start to the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. It's only the 2nd event of the season, and already, I don't know about you, but I think it's anybody's guess who are going to be our point men all the way through the season and coming in to the Macau finale in November. Fabulous stuff. This, ladies and gents, is the top of the tree in touring car racing. I think you'll agree with performances like we've just seen. There's a very good reason why these are the best tin-top touring car drivers in the world. Okay, it was a collector's item, overtaken in that 3rd and final race. Sometimes that's the way these things go. But a great motor race, I hope you'll all agree with me, isn't always about the overtaking. It's about the tension. It's about the performances, the way the drivers deliver their results. And I know I've been on tenterhooks all the way through this race. Maybe not so much at the front of the field, but certainly the rest of the pack. And Jan Elyshe, he's a man who gets paid to win races for a living. So the quieter, more boring and more straightforward they are, the happier that man is. Safety netting off the side of the car. Engine off as well, let's not forget that one. Unbuckle the seatbelts and some blessed fresh air. I am sure Jan will be over the moon about that one. Don't damage the car too much, you're going to go to Monza next week. And there's your race winner, Jan Elyshe, lapping up the applause of the Valencian crowd. Take a bow as well, and so you should. That was really quite the performance from Jan Elyshe. It's been a good start to the 2025 campaign. Not exceptional, but good start. Well, I think any wrongs he may have had have been righted very firmly with that victory. Beautiful stuff from Jan Elyshe. Love to see it straight over the Cyan Racing Lincoln Co team. They've been together so long, team and driver. It's all like one family now. And Jan immediately over there to celebrate with his team what has been an absolutely fabulous performance this afternoon. Sundays don't get much better than this for Jan Ellershae on Father's Day in the UK. Happy Father's Day, by the way. 20 dads out there all around the world if you celebrate this one. That one's better than a box of chocolates and a glass of wine, isn't it? It's a winner's cap, Kumho winner's cap. Santiago Urrutia, ever the sportsman, goes over and congratulates his teammates and his team as well. A good 1-2. Cyan Racing Lincoln Co. They'll be delighted with that one, I'm absolutely certain. You never quite know when you come into a race weekend just where the phone book is going to lie in touring cars, even if you're confident. Often the confidence can be tripped up very quickly indeed. But it's been absolute job done for Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing. A 1-2 finish in his third race of the day. Jan Ellershae from Santiago Urrutia. And give a shout out as well, of course, to Nestor Girolami. That's a great result going alongside his victory in race number 2. Girolami backs that up with another podium finish. Debriefing begins already, even before they've done the podium celebrations. Girolami has very much drawn a line in the sand for his rivals and said, hey, don't forget me. I'm in this fight as well, says the Argentinian driver. My goodness me, is he indeed. Only a few moments then, folks, and we'll have our podium ceremony. I can see Alex down there already. Let's take a little look at the provisional results. Jan Ellershae is your winner from Santiago Urrutia and Bebu Girolami. Esteban Gurrieri, great recovery for 4th position, just ahead of Norbert Michaelis and Ruben Volt. Marcin Qua comes across the line in 7th ahead of Nacho Montenegro. Mikel Azcona and Ted Bjork round out the top 10 runners. John Filippi is in 11th from Victor Anderson. Aurelian Comp 13th. Felipe Fernandez 14th. Marco Butti 15th. And Rafael Fournier rounds out the 16 runners. And let's go talk to our race winner.
Well, there we have it. What a dominant weekend for Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing and for this gentleman here, Jan Ellershae, who now takes the championship lead with 6 points. What a race. Again, that was a good, clean race. With this package now and how dominant you guys have been this weekend, what are your thoughts ahead of Monza?
Monza will be a different story with 40 kilo, with the long straight, so we might adopt a different strategy there. But we will think about this from tomorrow morning. We have already a few ideas to improve the car and suit it better for there. But now we will enjoy with the team because it was a hard weekend. Temperatures were very high. So now we will just enjoy and celebrate with the guys that has done an amazing job.
Just how tough was it to maintain that lead during that race? We obviously know that there's, you guys are supporting each other, but there's obviously, it comes to a point where you have to be able to maintain that gap, don't you? And how tricky was it around this circuit?
Well, you always need to show the pace. You need to show to the teammate that, mate, there's no point to come. We are quick, we have pace, we have same material. So at the end of the day, you need to show every lap you jump on the track. So that's what we did this weekend, but it's a long season again. So I'm just happy with the way we prepared this year compared to the last 2 seasons where the pace was not at my maximum, and I feel better and I feel he's getting there. So I'm happy.
Well done, Jan. Much deserved.
Jan Ellershae feels better. The pace is there. My goodness me, if you are a TCR World Tour driver, that's scary. That's a scary proposition, and he leads the provisional championship standings as well by a hearty 6 points, one ahead of Esteban Gurrieri, Santiago Urrutia in second. You can see the points on your screen there for yourself. Very close in the top 4 runners, but it's definitely an advantage. Lincoln Co. Cyan Racing. Right then, before we do the podium, let's go and have a look at the race highlights from you just seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you all. Thank you so much for joining us once again for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. That was a brilliant race 3.
Estamos preparados para ese podium en la tercera carrera de la FIA TCR World Tour. Vamos a llamar a los pilotos cuando lleguen a la zona del premio.
Are we ready? Let's give a big warm welcome, round of applause to our third position driver from BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corse. It's Nestor Bebu Girolami.
Nestor Girolami, tercer clasificado.
In second position from Cyan Racing Lincoln Co, it's Santi Urrutia.
Santi Urrutia que llega al segundo lugar en el cajón.
And he's back yet again, once again from Cyan Racing Lincoln Co, it's Jan Aleshe. And representing Lincoln Co, Cyan Racing is Richard Ackroyd.
El equipo de Valencia, Racing Lincoln Co, representado por Richard Ackroyd. Escuchamos el honor del vencedor, el equipo de Francia.
National anthem for Jan Aleshe. FIA Vice President of Sport Europe and President of Real Federación Española de I'm not going to keep saying that, that's for sure. To Nestor Girolami. And we'll also present the trophy in second position to Santi Urrutia. Manuel Avignon, please also present the winner's trophy to Jan Aleshe. And to the representative of the team, it's Richard Ackroyd. Presented by Augusto Balata, the General Director, Solidaridad sobre Ruedas. Perfecto.
El momento de las fotografías para el recuerdo, Ernesto Santiago Jan y el señor Richard. Y ese aplauso para ellos.
Let's party! Don't run away, drivers.
Fabulous stuff then. That is our podium presentation. Well done, Alex Legui, on some incredibly difficult tongue twisters there. Doing a fabulous job. And our top 3 drivers receive their trophies and will spray the champagne in time-honoured fashion. It may be hot in the air, on the circuit and in the car, but one man that wasn't hot under the collar was that man, Jan Aleshe. A fabulous performance from the French driver, a commanding race victory. And let's not forget, we're back in action again, this time next week, as we head to the Temple of Speed, that is Monza. So make sure you put a date in your diary for next weekend for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour to be back in action again. Monza always provides an incredible experience, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. After a great weekend of racing, I think there's no better way to spend a weekend, is there? From myself, Paul Jeffrey, from Alex Legui, down there on pit road, from the whole team in the background that put these broadcasts together. It's been an honour and a pleasure to welcome you along to Valencia. I hope you've enjoyed the racing. We'll see you all again in Italy. Thank you for watching. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.